It's been way too many years. I'm realizing we haven't been in Menlo Park since, I don't know, it's been like 6 or 7 years. It was Mark Andreessen and Kim Scott, the author of Radical Candor and the CEO of SurveyMonkey. So I'm so glad to be here. We've got an amazing lineup for you, starting with Navin, who has some really interesting thoughts. Come on up here, Navin. Thank you. Thank you so much again for bringing everybody together tonight in this beautiful venue.
Absolutely. It's a privilege to be doing this with you, and good evening, everyone.
Well, it's a privilege to be doing this with you, including because you really are a rock star investor. I mean, I have to say...
You're looking at me or somebody?
I am. No, it's you. Midas list 16 times, including 2020, 2022, 23, 24. Not bad. Some big wins include Lyft, Poshmark, and HashiCorp. But we are not here today to talk about past victories. I want to talk to you primarily, I mean, there's many things we could talk about, but I want to talk to you primarily about your vision for AI services businesses, because I feel like that is a very hot topic in Silicon Valley right now. And I want to learn more, I guess, if this is real or just sort of like the next big shiny thing. So just, diving right in. Law firms, consulting companies, IT services, $5 trillion market, bigger than the GDP of Japan right now. You think it's going to be completely reimagined by AI. So, and you say that, I was sort of looking at a blog of yours, and you said that AI first companies, really need to operate with software-like margins, or they will operate with software-like margins. I feel like I've heard this before. So I guess my request to you is prove it. What have you seen beyond sort of PowerPoint presentations that makes you think that this is really real?
Absolutely. So I think an advantage of a firm which has been in business for over 50 years, Mayfield has seen all the trends from mainframe going to mini computers, to PCs, to the internet, to mobile, cloud, social, and now it's this AI era. The example I would give is in the late 90s, this concept of e-business came, which is if I'm a physical business, I cannot survive if I'm just brick and mortar. I need to be click and mortar, and it became the e-business. Then outsourcing was a trend, and suddenly the Y2K happens and offshoring becomes a big trend. You couldn't build a software services company without presence in India or one of the emerging markets. Same thing happened with supply chains and manufacturing. China and Taiwan rose. So what is this new era now with AI? So clearly AI is a 100x force, and AI is teaming up with humans, hopefully to make them better, and I think they are. And they're going to help reimagine businesses. So let's look at which are the people-intensive industries. So like you had with brick and mortar companies becoming click and mortar, the Amazonization of them, same thing is going to happen in professional services. Some roles will be done by humans, but a lot of the repetitive tasks are going to be done by AI. And a new kind of a services company is going to get created, which could be called an iBusiness, an intelligent business, or which is using teammates which are in the form of AI together with humans to create a next generation of IT services or professional services companies. So why do I think now we can create software-like companies? And there'll be two models. One is you grow organically. The second is you grow inorganically. So I was an investor in the early 2000s in most of the offshoring businesses that happened to India, whether they were call centers. This was like globalization or tearing apart of supply chain. I was investor in IT services companies, BPO companies, product engineering companies, and all these businesses use technology to an advantage themselves, and they automated as many of the processes, and their gross margins were 50%, not 20, 30%, and they were able to make 20 to 25% net income, not 70 to 80%. But now let's look at IT services, $1.5 trillion industry, not counting software development, where new applications need to get built. 30 million software developers are there. In an IT, what are the kinds of things an LLM or AI can do well. I have to implement Salesforce. And like, who wants to go do that work, right? Right? Like the human will come in and say, I'm your client manager. You have to implement Salesforce. It's the same set of things. Use AI as the horse to do it. And whatever AI can't do, have human in the loop. So now suddenly, if you start doing these kinds of things, you can have less work done by humans and more work done by AI, and only pay for AI when you use it. And the market insertion should not be to go after the Accenture market, the Infosys market, or the TCS market. Go after the neglected masses. 30 million small companies in the US, 100 million worldwide, can't afford knowledge workers. Provide them. Service as software. I need a receptionist. I need a scheduler. I need somebody to build my website. I need somebody to manage my social media. That's where this trend is going. Lawyers, very expensive. Some of them might be sponsors. Luckily, they're not. Actually, they did the drinks, right? Like, so how many people can afford like $2,000 per hour, right? AI to start funding forms of a startup should be done with AI. Some human for negotiation. So I think that's where this industry is going. You don't compete with Accentures, Infosys of the world. You go after fragmented markets where instead of charging per hour, instead of charging per month for a contractor, you charge per event. And your margin is high because if you don't use me, I'm not having any costs. So it becomes like an electricity company. So I firmly believe companies which will be designed well from the get-go, because if 80% of the work will be done by AI, it can have 80-90% gross margin. Humans can still have 30-40% margin. You could have blended margins of 60 to 70% and produce 20 to 30% net income. And believe me, most services companies make money. Tech companies don't. They live on venture money and then public market money. So services businesses, we need to give them credit. They're more profitable services businesses who self-sustain than tech companies. Tech companies just grow and margin, profitability doesn't come. So this is a whole new wave, like you had brick and mortar becoming click and mortar. It's going to be the same in industries which are heavy on people, where you can't hire the people, or you need to bring the price point to a place where it can be affordable by the masses. That's what Mark Benioff did with SaaS. Everybody hated. They said there's no market for SaaS. Why would you finance your own customer's business? But he said 500 companies in the world can use Oracle, maybe 2,000 can use Siebel. I'm going to go after the next 500,000 businesses and charge per month. Same thing is going to happen now. You're going to charge per event, but you don't hire these people. You don't need them full time. They're fractional employees.
Right. So that's different. You're not charging. So you don't
Correct.
have a very predictable margins. You are. This is outcome based.
Yes.
So I think that's pretty interesting. And I mean, I guess
It's like cloud. Cloud billing is like that.
Yeah.
Electricity is like that.
Yeah.
Right? Good companies.
So you just backed a company called Groove that my
Yes.
colleague Maureen, I believe, is here, wrote about Series A couple weeks ago, AI tech consulting. So again, just to sort of crystallize this for people, what did you see in their early customer pilots that made you think that this is?
So I think this is where the combination of the inorganic and organic happens. Very successful founders who had done 2 services companies before, bootstrapped, got them to 500 million in revenues each, 50 to 100 million in profits. They started this time and said, what do we know? We know security and IT. So they acquired a $5 million security consulting company, which is called Managed Security Services, and said, let's look at the people. All the growth from this point on will happen through AI. And they grew that from 5 to 15 in 6 months. Called me and said, this is our model, and we are getting Cisco as an investor. and we're going to disrupt the MSSP market from charging per month to charging per event. And they literally have 80% gross margin. It's outcome based. Customers love it. Cisco loves it. Hey, I'm not getting hacked. Why am I paying for all these security people? I hope they're not security professionals in the room, right?
We're offending everybody tonight.
Okay, I'm safe. No tomatoes at me. So that's what the company does. It's a real value proposition. And they don't go after the customers Accenture and others serve. They go after customers who can't afford a full-time security person. They're anyways outsourcing. If you outsource, they say $10,000 a month. This guy says zero. If you get hacked, if there is an event, if I look at it, then you pay me.
I notice you keep talking about Accenture and why Accenture doesn't have to worry, which I also think is, sorry, my mic doesn't work
They
very
pay
well.
me actually.
Well, I wonder if it's also, like McKinsey is very actively acquiring companies. So I did want to
Yes.
ask, can't they just buy these AI capabilities for themselves? They've got a big business they don't want to lose.
Yeah, I think like what's going to happen is this is where the innovator dilemma comes in. When enterprise software companies, which were perpetual license, SaaS companies were happening, they didn't want to buy them because the main reason was they charge companies 5 years upfront and then put you on a 20% maintenance. Now to get off that drug and to say, oh, I'll charge you monthly. The business model innovation was the key thing. They didn't do it. So McKinsey's of the world, Accenture's of the world, there's so much dislocation. They're going to be busy serving their clients. I always believe companies, startups need to go after blue ocean opportunities. Why go compete where somebody has account control? Go after the neglected masses. Figure out unique GTM and service somebody they just can't come down market to. And that's why, right, like both of them pay me, right? I have high regard for them, but can they use, I'm kidding, right? Like it's like Wednesday evening before Juneteenth. No, they will hurt, but I have to be careful because they do business with a lot of our companies. But there's so much business, it just doesn't matter. But they're going to get reimagined too. So these small companies, which are not competing with them today, mark my word, in 10 years, they will be competing with them. And those big companies, McKinsey, BCG, Accenture, TCS, Infosys, all have the innovator's dilemma. They know this has to be done. When do I do it? Because as a public company, my revenues are going to go down from predictable revenues to utility-based revenues. So that's when you have a technology disruption combined with a business model disruption, and you can go after a new market, wonders happen. But this will be a combination of both organic and inorganic.
And tell me a little bit more. You founded something, or you carved out, I think it was a carve out, $100 million dedicated to AI teammates in the fall. That was not new money. That was money that you had probably raised a year earlier when you guys
Correct.
collected like $1 billion in commitments. So you've got some investments there. Newbird, which is a trusted digital assistant to the engineering team. DevRev, a startup whose platform is designed to integrate product development and customer support into a single workflow, and Docket, an AI sales engineer. So I guess I was wondering, what makes a true AI teammate versus an AI tool?
Yeah. So I think our belief is there's a lot of buzzwords in the industry. First, it was co-pilots, it's AI tools, AI agents, AI teammates. So the Mayfield thesis is an AI teammate is a digital companion which collaborates with a human on shared goals and gets to better outcomes. The technology it might be built on could be agentic technologies or co-pilot. The manifestation of it is I'm an HR teammate. I'm a sales engineering teammate. So that's what is happening. The aim is not to replace. The aim is to team up and collaborate together. So let's look at an example of Newbird, right? They are a IT ops engineer, site reliability engineer. Site is slow. People get pagers. In this case, AI gets paged. So AI goes, debugs what's wrong with the website, takes 10 steps, and when the final step has to be there, it wakes up the human. So it's really a teammate doing the grunt work so that human can sleep at night. Sales engineering. Salespeople in B2B share an SE. maybe 1:2, 1:3. But now, using a digital sales engineer, everybody can have one, which means salespeople can do less work. They can watch movies, right? They can write them, have their engineer write RFPs. So I think that's what is going to happen. It's not going to be 1 + 1 is 2. This is 5 or 6. So the more we endorse these technologies, the more we use it. For example, every day, ChatGPT, my team and I, right? Like, I just realized my writing capacity has gone up 10x. Like, I have a teammate, so I always ask, hey, I have a teammate. They say it's me. I said, no. It's ChatGPT. You're the human teammate. So suddenly teams are growing without adding headcount. It's $20 a month. What could be better? What could be better?
Well, so I guess that's now. And I'm curious what your thoughts are. You know, I'd written a sort of a little op-ed about this, but you know, when people started talking about teammates and assistants and et cetera, it sounded sort of novel, but I do wonder if that's going to look callous as people do lose their jobs. I mean, we're seeing big tech shrinking their workforces because these, workers, these digital workers, are doing so much of the work. So just wondering if, Silicon Valley's got a marketing problem in the making.
Absolutely right. And I think we need to not sugarcoat it. We need to address it heads on and stay tuned for a series of newsletters coming out, like we did on AI professional services, on why net new jobs are going to get created over the long run. And the main reason is, yes, there's going to be job displacement, but humans are smart. They're the jockey. The horse here is AI. We will reimagine ourselves. We will reinvent ourselves. The right companies and the right people to ride this technology, to create better outcomes for our customers. Today, the focus is cutting cost, but we will figure out how to expand our markets, how to increase revenue. When all this happens, how much can AI do? And at the end of the day, every technology wave that comes, when Microsoft Word came with a PC on desktop, people thought typewriters are out of business. Then Excel comes, accountants who do calculations, they are out of business. Then some other technology comes, it never happens. Markets grow 10x. And we saw the same with consumer, with Uber, Lyft, taxi drivers will go away. What happened? The markets expand. So I think we need to just keep an open mind. Humans are not going away. We have to just figure out what happened with manufacturing, what happened with offshoring. This is going to be a reality. I think offshoring was a bigger threat to Silicon Valley and to the US than AI is. If we are the pioneers in here, those jobs actually are coming back here. They'll be on my desktop. They'll be in the same city as I am. So the thing which went the other way is coming back to the US. That's why this race between US and China is so important. The country, the companies which create the best products are going to be the big winners. So I am like long-term bullish. Short-term, I'm nervous. That's why I think people should go after jobs humans can't do, or there is shortage of talent, or expand markets. 100 million neglected small businesses, they can never hire a knowledge worker. It's too expensive. Go after that market. And what's going to happen is, my thesis is, the way emerging markets like India, China, Africa never went landline. You couldn't dig up copper. They went wireless, cellular. That's what's going to happen with many markets. AI will do the work where humans are not even available to serve that customer at $10,000, $1,000. Like, you can't live. But even offshore is more expensive. So that's what is going to happen. So long run, very bullish. Short run, pain. But no pain, no gain.
Right. Well, even I think in the short run, I do think that Silicon Valley has overestimated how quickly they can displace people. I mean, even this is one example, and maybe not entirely fair, but Carta, for example, fund administration, I think everyone thought, oh, this is eminently scalable, but it turns out that people actually do want to talk to humans when it comes to their, who's ever custodying their funds. So I think we're going to see a little bit of that as well.
And it'll be human plus AI, right? Like there was clicks and mortar. That's what it's going to be. The front end, a human ain't going to buy from a machine. Human is going to talk to a human. But who implements the work? That's where we have to think with vibe coding, with all these tools that have been built. Where do they play? But again, there never will be 100% accuracy. So humans will still be there. So it's a hybrid world. And we need to just endorse it and live in it.
I know we've got to get going, but I did want to ask you, speaking of vibe coding, there was a deal today that I thought was so fascinating. This young Israeli company, 6 months old, and it had 250,000 users, and it was making $200,000 a month, and it was bought by another Israeli company, Wix, for $80 million, including some sort of retention. I'm just wondering, does that make sense to you?
Actually, in today's day, no math makes sense. We're in the AI age, right? Like it's a market, right? Like you don't know what's going to happen. I'm surprised they only sold with 2.4 million in revenues at 80 million. I thought it would be 800 million, right? Like I'm being honest, right? In today's world, you don't know. It's a marketplace. Buyers,
How do you
sellers.
invest in that market, though?
I think that's where the secret recipe comes of people who are proven investors. They've cracked the code. It's not a science, it's an art. So the more you practice this, it's like the 10,000 hours, the better you get. And the firms which have been around for 50, 60 years, we have seen all kinds of bubbles, we have seen all kinds of busts. You get on the other side. There's a method to the madness. The number one rule is have your own North Star, have discipline, and have no FOMO, because FOMO is for sheep. And if you have those 2, 3 things, your own strategy, have no fear. Just remember one thing for people who are VCs, we're in the money management business. We're not about collecting logos. We are about taking small amounts of money and making them bigger. We're a financial investor. We're not a media investor buying beachfront properties, and that's a real estate business. So this part of it is like the Coca-Cola recipe. I can't say. There'll be enough Pepsis and Starries and this and that. Now, a lot of money will get made, but I think 80% of the people are going to lose money. They don't know what they're doing.
Well, your track record speaks for itself. Also, next time we gather together, we'll have T-shirts that say FOMO is for sheep that you can pick up on your way out.
Sponsored by Mayfield.
Sponsored by Mayfield, of course. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Navin.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
What a pleasure.